So we'll talk about DevOps tools today. So before starting the DevOps tools, do you know what is repository? Repo?
Central storage.
Central storage. Okay. What does it mean?
Sorry, sir.
No, you said central storage, right?
Where we can, we pull the code to the, repository, then push the code to the repository, and then we can pull from there. That is the storage means repository.
Okay. Why do we need that? Any idea?
Sir, suppose I have made one code and I push that code to the central repository, someone else can pull the same code from there and can continue the work with the same means after doing that. Suppose if I am working with any team and I am having a team of 2 members, so once I'll finish my work, I will push that code to the central repository, and another person of the same means my team member will pull that code from there and can continue with the same.
Perfect. So one advantage is code sharing between the team members, right? Any other advantages by having the repo or maintaining the repo?
So another advantage can be suppose if I have made a code and if I push that code to Red, the same image can be used by anyone else in the future.
Okay. So for future use.
Yeah.
Okay. History. Right. Any other reasons? Obviously.
I'm not sure about much regarding repository.
Okay. So assume that I'm working. There is a project where there are 10 developers working on a single project. So if you take a project, the source remains same for all the 10 developers, right? So maybe the different people will work on different modules, but as a project, your source remains same. To release a product or project, so ultimately you need to integrate all the sources from the different developers, right? So in that case, assume that there is a developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, like that. Okay. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, and so on, right? You have your central repository. This is your repository. Let it be a cloud or wherever it is. Now, whatever the changes the developer 1 is doing has to communicate or has to share the changes, whatever he is going to make and whatever the new things what he has implemented to other developers, right? Otherwise, what will happen? Assume that he is working on a module 1, some module, some function. Module 1 of project, and he is working on a module 2 of project. Right? And he must be working on module 3. So there should be a centralized location or place mechanism where they can share the code between them, right? So assume developer 1 has done some changes and he cannot keep it in his local, right? He can keep it, but he cannot work 24/7, right? He may be working on different time and he may be working on different timings, or there may be different regions also, right? For a single project, there will be people working on India, and there will be few working from different countries. So zone differences also will be there. So in that case, it's really not possible to share the code in 24/7 anytime between the developers, right? I cannot work 24/7. So that's why you should have a central place, and which is a common place, and which can be accessed between across the teams and across the regions. So there, if you store your changes, so it is easy for entire team to access that code. So that's where the code sharing is very, very important and very useful feature of the repository, right? And another thing is history. So see, few projects will run for years together. So I really don't know 2 years back what happened, right? I may be in this company today, so next year I will be in different company. So it's really difficult to maintain a private copies for history point of view. It's because whoever is there today, the team will change, right? There is no constant or fixed team for any project. So if you save the changes in a central repo, so even if someone else is coming after few years also, it is available for them to look back and check what happened in the field, right? Any other features? Assume that this guy is, we were discussing about in the last session of working different teams, QA, development. See, maintaining source code in my local system and managing the security is not easy, right? So by pushing the source code to a repository, it is easy for the DevOps guys to manage the administration work, right? So there we have a lot of options to give read-only permission or read-write permission, kind of what we call as check-in, check-out, those kind of things. So it is very useful for security also. What is security? Read, write, or admin permission, something like that, right? And another thing is, any other point, Konar? Bano? See, there will be cases where your laptop has
the
to
hardware
reboot,
problem.
hardware problems.
Yeah.
So what can we do? Your source, whatever, you must be, developers would have done it 1 month effort or 2 months or 3 months. It will be gone, right? So it is restoring. To restore also, it is very useful. Okay.
Yes.
Clear? Why do
Is
we
it
need?
like a OneDrive, like where we save all the folders so that it can be accessible from anyone?
Yeah, more or less kind of thing, but you will not have too many versions in OneDrive.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it is more or less same concept. We can compare with that, right? Now everybody is started using OneDrive, right? So that is just because of losing the data, many people.
Yeah.
And if we take the laptops keep changing actually. Say for 2-3 years, assume that I'm working, for us every 3.5 years we need to change our laptop. See, if I want to carry my previous data, it's really difficult for me to transfer this from one laptop to other laptop, all those things. But if you put it in the OneDrive, which is kind of central repo, so just connect and automatically it will get pulled into your new laptop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you can compare with that OneDrive.
Okay.
Repo. So these are the advantages of maintaining version control tools, right? So we will talk about the tools, Git and GitHub. Okay. GitHub. Git and GitHub, right? So what is Git and GitHub? There are two types of architecture we can see in the industry. Okay. One is distributed version control system, and another one is the client server architecture. Okay. What is distributed version control system? GitHub, we can say. This is distributed version control system. Okay. The other tools in the market are SVN, we'll call it as Subversion or Bitbucket. These are all client server architecture. Okay. What is the difference? What is distributed version control system? Any idea? Anyone? That name itself will explain something, right? Konark, what is distributed?
The distributed version control system, we can say that where we are distributing our resources to every person, and we can say it's a means pyramid model. We can say means we are distributing the resources with everyone.
Okay. Yeah, not exactly. Okay, we'll talk about that. So take the same example. We have so many developers, right? So we have developer 1, developer 2. Take this and okay. Assume that we have developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4, and you have the repository. Assume that this is your repository. Okay. Now, if I want to, okay, in this developer 1, okay, developer 2, please try to understand these concepts, because concepts are very, very important here. So whether you use Git or Subversion or whatever it is, okay, the concepts are very important here. This is your, assume that your Git or Git repo, you can say. Okay. So now assume that, see, generally what we do, every developer, they will do some, they will create their files, all those things, right, in their local copy, right? So before that, how it works, maybe I'll just show one picture of Git architecture so that you can, I'll just show only one picture, right? That will help you to understand better. That's right. Just let's switch back how the Git works. So just see this picture. A quick overview of Git local operation. See, everyone will have their own laptop, right? That's where they will work, most of the people, most of the developers. There are a few people who work on remote servers, right? So consider that your laptop is your working directory. Then there will be a staging area. Then there will be a Git repository, which is central repository. So these are the few operations which we do. Generally, when you work from your working directory, we will generally stage the files to staging area. Once staging is over, then we'll commit to the repository. So, but where will be your source code? Ultimately, if assume that if you are starting a fresh laptop, you need to take your source code from the repository. So these are the few commands which you'll use. For now, just imagine that there will be 3 levels, which is working directory. Second one is staging area. Third one is a repository. Okay, we'll talk about this in detail. Okay, so now developer 1 has, right? So this, whatever the developer 1 who's having his local laptop or a VM, that will be his working area. So what he do, assume that there is a file called hello.java. Okay, right? He has created this file. Now he has done modifications, everything here, right? So what he has to do, he has to copy or share this code to other developers, right? So what he has to do, this guy has to submit his code to repository, Git repo. right? Similar way, now where is the hello.java? Hello.java is available in my repository, right? So now the same code, if developer 2 wants to have it, there is the first command is like git clone. Clone is the command to pull the source or to copy the source from the repository to your local system, right? If you remember, there are 3 stages, right? One is the local, staging area, and repository. If you want to take the code, so you need to use a command called git clone. Okay, what is the command? Git clone. This is the command. Is the font okay, or you want me to increase it?
That's okay.
Okay. So is it clear? The command simple, don't get confused. There is 2 places. One is your local area. Forget about staging area for now. There is a repository. If you want to take the code, assume that I am a fresh member into the team. I don't have anything in my laptop, but I need the source code. So I need to use a command called git clone to take the source code from the repository. Which is the repository here? Git or GitHub, you can say. Clear?
Yeah.
So now same thing is required for the developer too. He has to copy. He has to establish a connection between the repository and his local working area. So how can we establish a connection? Using the command git clone. So what git clone does? It will copy the source code if it is empty in our local directory, local working area from the repository. Along with that, it will create a connection to further communications, whatever it is. So every time you don't need to clone. So just clone it once, which will create few configuration files where it will have all the details of your server and local working area, right? What he has to do if developer 2 wants to take hello.java, whatever was modified by developer 1, assume that the developer 1 created a file called hello.java, and this guy has to create a communication, share the code hello.java to this Git repository. Assume that he has already shared into the repository. Now, the same file, if the developer 2 also wants to get it, what he has to do?
Git clone.
He also has to apply git clone, so that he will get the source code of whatever is available in the repository. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how can you push this hello.java to repository? First thing, he has done the git clone. With that, the developer 1 has established a connection between your git repository and your local working directory. Now, the second command is git add.
Cool.
Git add. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
First one is git clone. Something. First thing, he has to do the git clone. Then that will create a connection to take some other actions between the developer working area and the repository. Once you have created your hello.java, to stage it to the staging area, you need to add a command called, you need to use a command git add.
Add.
Okay. What git add does? it will add your local files to repository. See, what happens when you clone? This is the Git repo. Assume that as soon as you use the git clone command, that entire repo will come and sit in your working area, which is your local working area, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So basically, it's a replica. Once you use this, it will everybody has to do the clone to create the link between your repository and your working area. Okay. Once you initiate the git clone, automatically this repo will come and sit in your local working area, which is your laptop. Assume for now it is your laptop. Okay. Now, to stage this file hello.java, you need to use the command called git add. Okay. I'll write it in a different color so that it will git add. Clear? So adding into the staging area will not sufficient because that will be in the middle of something. It is still not available to the public, which is other team members. So for that, you need to do the another command is git commit. So what is the difference? Simple, I'll tell you. First, to establish the connection between your central repository to your local area, you need to use a command called git clone. What git clone does, it will replicate the repository, whatever you have specified, to your local working area. Once you modified your local working area, let it be the adding new file or modifying some existing file or deleting anything, any modification. So to save those changes or to stage that, you need to use git add first to stage, right? Once you have done the git add, that will go and sit in the central one, which is staging area, right? So to save those changes, git add is nothing but it will save it in a cache. Do you know what is caching? Generally, if we use something right in our browsers, there will be caching or cookies, something. Sometimes we'll delete your all caching areas. It will not save permanently. It is kind of temporary place where it will keep it for some time, right? That is what cache. So similar thing the git add does here. So it will just store it in a temporary place. Assume that it is cached actually. So to save it permanently, you need to use the command git commit. Clear?
Yeah.
So there are four steps. One is git clone, second one is git add, third one is git commit, right? So once you have staged your local changes to staging area, so you need to use another command called git push. Git push. Okay. What git push does? It will move or it will copy the changes, whatever you have made into your staging area to the repository. If you want to make it available for the public or to other developers, you need to use the command called git push, right? Once you push it here, then if the developer too wants to take those changes, then he can just use a git clone, right? Is it git clone required for every time? Assume that git clone does a copy of entire thing. Assume you have 1 GB source in your repository. Assume this is 1 GB source, right? Here, whatever it is almost 1 GB. So every time if I use git clone Do I need to take 1 GB every time?
No.
There should be some other way to take it, right? Because this out of this 1 GB, maybe 990 MB remains same. Only that 1 MB has changed or 10 MB has changed. How can I get that only the delta part? Because I have done already git clone. This repository, whatever is already sitting in my local system, local working area, right?
So we'll pull that particular code.
Exactly. You need to use the pull command. Git pull. What git pull does? It will just pull the changes after your git clone. Assume that you have done the git clone yesterday. From yesterday to today, there are 3 files got modified from different developers into the repository, and they have pushed it to the repository, 3 files. When you use the git pull, it will pull only those delta changes. It will compare your, we'll see how on what basis it will compare and how quickly it will pull only the delta changes. Okay, he will do the if you use the git pull command, it will copy the delta of your existing working copy versus your central repository. Clear? So now assume that for the same hello.java file, he has modified, okay, and he has made some functions like class hello, okay, for the hello.java. Now tell me, if developer 2, whatever changes he has made here, class hello.java or some function he has modified, okay, this guy has to publish or share these changes whatever he made to the other team members. Can you tell me the steps? How can you do that? Simple thing, whatever he has done, he has created, developer 1 created hello.java file, and he has made it available for the public by doing some steps. Now same thing, this guy has pulled those changes, hello.java, whatever was added by developer 1. Now he has modified something here, and he has to update these changes to the repository. So what is the first step?
Sir, first of all, after pulling the code, whatever you have done the changes, he will the changes will be done in the workspace. Then he will add that command, means with the help of add command, he will transfer that code to the staging area and will commit it to the central repo.
Perfect. First he has to stage it. What is the command to stage from local to staging area? Git add. So adding is just a caching. Once adding is done, he has to do what? Git
Commit.
Git commit. So commit will save the changes permanently into the staging area. But to make it available for the public, what he has to do?
Git push.
He has to do the git push. Git push, right? So now if developer 3 does git pull, assume that git pull, okay, he is doing git pull. So now tell me what he will get.
Hello.java.
Hello.java with
Class hello.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
With, yes, including this hello, because he has already pushed it. After pushing, he has done the git pull. So now he'll get the latest changes, whatever was pushed by the developer 2. Right? Now assume that this guy will take and he will modify again. Okay. He will add for hello.java. He will add, because class is already there, right? On top of it, you will add some other thing, main. Okay, he has modified it now. Now what if same thing, this main has to be published for the all the developers, all the team members. Now what this guy has to do?
Git add.
Do the git add staging.
Right. First thing he has to do the git add.
Git add.
What git add does? Use this different color. Git add. After git add, what git add? It will just
Git
stage
commit.
the changes.
Commit to save
Commit.
the changes.
Changes. Commit. After committing,
Git
this will
the
save it
push.
into staging
push.
area. But yes, we need to use the git push to publish to the
repository.
repository or public. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now assume developer 4 has done the git pull now.
Git pull.
Before that, this guy has done the git push. Push. Now he has done the git pull. He got the hello.java with main and
Main.
class, right? Now he deleted that. Delete hello.java. Okay. He deleted that. Now this guy has to commit or push his changes to the repository. So this guy has to repeat the same thing. Git add, right? Then
Git commit.
git commit. Then
Git push.
git push, right? So now assume that now this guy is deleted. Now hello.java is available in my repository after his git push. Will it be available?
No.
It will not be available, right? But if I want to get, because he has deleted this and he pushed it, so it will save these changes, whatever he made locally, he has staged it by using the git add. He saved it permanently by using the git commit. He pushed it by using the git push command to central repository. Now if I some developer 5 will come and he will pull that code. Assume that developer 5 will come. Okay, developer 5. Now if I do the git pull command, okay, now will I get hello.java?
No, sir.
But hello.java is required. This guy has done accidentally.
So
By mistake.
developer 1, developer 2, and developer 2 and 3 will having the local copy in their local means having the local copy also in the machine, so they can again push that particular code to the repository.
But I really don't know what changes I have made here, right? See, developer 1, since I have already pushed my code, I would have done it some other changes here. I don't have the latest one which was added by class and main by developer 3.
Do we have any trash kind of thing to pull it again?
Right. There is some mechanism, whatever, whenever you do is commit, so that will generate a log. It's kind of recording. Okay. So using that log information, basically there will be a lot of information within the log. We'll talk about that. So using that, the developer 5 can, or anyone can pull the whichever version was pushed into the repository, right? So basically what happens, even if you delete this hello.java, when you do the git pull, this will add another ID. It will not go and delete your previous versions, whatever was done by this guy, whatever was done by this guy. So we'll talk about that. Clear? So we were talking about, right, restoring. If someone has done by mistake, accidentally deleted some files, how can we restore it back? Using this history, we can restore it. Okay. So we'll make a note of this first. What are the commands? First one, git clone. Okay, we'll cover first why we are calling it as distributed version control system. We're talking about it, right? Now tell me, in the same example, developer 1 has modified 10 files. Okay. Okay, we'll talk about this scenario first. Assume developer 1, he has 10 changes, maybe same file or different files. Okay. Clear? Now, if I want to save these changes, how many commits I have to do? 10 changes I have made for different files. So if I want to commit or push these changes to the central repository, I have done 10 changes here. Okay. I want to push all these 10 changes to central repository, which is repo, you can say, right?
Okay.
How many commits I need?
If we are sending it individually, we need 10 commits.
Okay. 10 changes, 10 commits. And how many pushes required?
Same 10 pushes.
At a time or
Assume 1 week, in 1 week, he has done 10 changes.
Sir, did he exactly want to send all those 10 changes to the repo?
Okay, I'll change the scenario. So assume that I am the developer 1. Every day I'm doing some changes. Every day. Okay, 10 days. In total of 10 days, assume 2 weeks, 5 working days, 5 working days. I have done total of 10 changes. Every day one change. An example, just assume 1 or 2 changes. So as soon as, if you see here, you have done the changes. To save the changes, what are the steps required?
Git add, git commit, and then git push.
git push,
No, just to save.
git commit.
Git add and git commit. So I can do changes every day. I can commit all in maybe 5 commits. It's not mandatory that every time I have to do, right? Because I have my local working copy, right?
Yes,
Okay, 10 changes. Can I do it all in one push? Because it is
Yes, sir.
already saved. I should
Already
not worry
saved.
about. Yeah, Konal, you were saying something?
If we can save all those changes, means we can add all those changes to the staging area, na? And then we can we can do a commit to send it to the central repo.
Perfect. That's what I have written here. Even if you have 10 changes, you can finish it in 5 commits. Just example only I'm saying. It can be 1 commit or 2 commits also. Because it is already saved with 5 commits, you can push in one shot. It's not mandatory that for every change you need to push it, because you have already saved your changes, right? Assume that I have developer 2 who had done 20 changes, and he may be just finished in 3 commits, all changes, but he has done some 2 pushes using 2 push. Weekly once, every Friday has done 1 push.
Yeah.
Okay. Similar way, I have so many developers. Developer 10. he has done some 50 changes, and maybe he has done some 4 to 5 commits, and he has done some 3 push. Clear? I can do this, right? It's not mandatory that for every change I need to commit and I need to push.
Yeah.
Right? Because your Git architecture is like that. So you have a staging area where it is kind of local repo.
Okay.
So you can do whatever things you can do with the client server architecture between your local working area and staging area, that will happen. Right? You no need to create a load into the central repository. Right? So now assume that this developer one, he can do only one push. Right? No, this curve will never work. Here, we'll use the different. He can do with a single or one push, 10 commits, right?
Yes, sir.
10 changes and one push,
One.
right? And this guy has done some 50 changes with 3 push. So imagine the load, how much we are reducing it here. Instead of 50 pushes, we are talking about only 3-4 developers. There will be hundreds of developers, right? If everybody is trying to push for every change they are making in their local copy, imagine the load which will come and sit here in the repository server. Ultimately, your repo has to be in one of the server, right? Let it be cloud or in some other physical server or any data center. So by what are we trying to do here? We are distributing the load. Where are we distributing? The developer 1 load is distributed to his local staging area. Developer 2 load is distributed to his developer 2 staging area. You getting?
Yes.
Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
ultimately, what we are trying to do, we are distributing the load to at individual staging areas, right? As soon as you do the Git clone, you will have your own staging area. Clear?
Yeah. But like, what will be those staging areas in live scenarios? Means lifetime project.
What will be those staging areas? That architecture itself is like that.
Okay.
So when you establish, when you do the, we'll talk about Git bash. Okay. So there is a Git client called Git bash. Once you install that, or as part of Git, okay.
Yeah.
So this architecture is automatically, as soon as you install this and you establish a connection by using the Git clone, your working area is defined, your staging area is defined, your repository is defined. So you no need to do anything extra there. So it is by default, you will get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So clear now what is distributed system, version control system? The client server architecture is like just modify thing and you need to commit everything to save it every time. So that is to add a lot of workload for the servers. That's why the distributed version control system is very popular now. Just Git and GitHub. So now what Git clone does? Connection
Repository.
between local or working area, I can say, and repo. What is the second command? Git add to stage and unstage. We'll talk in detail. For now, to stage the files or changes. Okay. What is the next command? Git commit
Commit.
to save the changes. Git push to copy the changes to repo. Right? So along with the save, this will also create log files here. As part of git commit, it will save the changes and it will record. Those are called logs here. Okay. What is log? We'll see. Now your concept is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
There are only 4 steps: git clone, add, commit, push.
Commit, push.
We'll talk about pull. Okay. These are the major steps. So now we'll see. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Clear, right? This is very important, because it will be at least good amount of work will be there in this concept as a DevOps engineer, whichever level, whichever position we are. So I'll see if I have something. Where am I? This is again, you need to use your Linux commands here. What is PWD? Present working directory, right? So what is a command to list files? What is there in my ls? I have so many. I think I have something. Repo. Where am I right now? In repo. I have something. Demo. Again, clear. All these commands are Linux commands. Log. See here, there is something called commit, right? As part of commit ID, okay. So now can you, okay. This is the ID, okay, which will be created for every commit. Where is this? So we're talking about the commit will save the changes and create the log file, right? What do you have in log files? This is very important. Log will help you a lot. In the log file, what and all it will get recorded? You see here, the author. It will be recorded. Who is the committer? Who has committed this? There will be hundreds of developers. See, I want to know who has done it. There will be a fresher, there will be me, intermediate guy, or there will be senior. So based on that, I may have to decide whether I need to take their changes or not. So I have to check for the who is the author and when was it committed. Is it the latest or old one? We'll talk about this ID. This is called a unique ID. ID, user, date. What else we have here in log?
Time.
We'll talk about this. What is main, what is origin, all those things. This is called branch actually. So we'll talk about this. Branch is nothing but a copy you can consider for now. So branch details. Also, right? So using this ID, people will call it as SHA ID actually. In the Git terminology, it is SHA ID. SHA ID. Okay. So using this ID, we can restore it back our changes. Even if the file is deleted, we can restore the file. Clear?
Yes.
Git push. This push also will. I cannot. Git push is git push pull to copy the changes from repo to local working directory or dir. Okay. So what is Git bash? Git bash is a utility which is used to connect to the Git repository. Okay. So we will. I have Git already installed. So you can install so that we can do some hands-on case if you want. So go to the install Git. You can go to Git SCM. So there will be OS, right? We can select whichever OS you are using. I think most of us will use the Windows. In case if you are using other OS, please select this, your respective OS. So whether it is 32-bit or 64-bit, download it. Once you download it, mine is 64, so I'll have, after downloading this, Git do I have? It's okay. Standard installer 64-bit I'm downloading. Once you download this, here. So just double click on it. Go with the default options. Don't change anything. I will not install it because I already have it. Just click on yes and go with the default one. Next. Okay. It will ask. Since I already have it, is asking, so I don't want to install it. Okay. So, and remember one thing, when you are doing the Git clone, okay, so please make sure to create your working copy. In the sense, you fix for one folder whether you want to put it in. So where am I? My present working directory. See, for any laptop, you will have user. Under user, you have the laptop ID or name. So this is my laptop ID. Under that, you create whatever the folder you want. Okay. Let us do one thing. Okay. Just observe one thing here. ls. So where am I right now? Under my repo folder, right? So I'll just go to the demo folder. Did you notice any difference between the previous command and this one? In the same window.
Main.
Sorry.
The branches are showing which one is main.
Right. That is the indicator that you have already cloned it. Okay. We'll talk about branches, but for now, if you see this, that means you are in the Git environment. In case if it is not there, if it is a new folder, now if I use the git log, this is working. I will go back one step. If I use the git log, will it work here?
No.
Why?
It is not in the demo folder.
Demo folder.
but it really doesn't matter, right? Why do I need under, I mean, why should I be in the demo folder?
Because what we do in the staging area, that will be recorded in the logs. So
what is the error?
not a Git repository.
See, when I showed you three things, one is local, the staging, and the central repo. All are repos only. Your local will act as a one repository, that is local repository. Your staging area will work as another repository, right? Because you are saving, right? Even your staging area, you have option to commit multiple things. You have all the options are available, right? So it is not a Git repository. If you want to establish a Git repository for any folder, you need to use a command called git commit. Sorry, git init. Initialize the Git. That will create the few configuration files. Okay. What is the command to see the hidden files?
-.
-e.
There is nothing here, right? Can you see anything here? Something related to Git? Nothing, right? Now, if I do the ls-a here, do I have something other than the previous one? Is it
Git
created .git?
.git.
This is the folder which will have complete details of configuration. When you do the git clone, all those things, it will get recorded here. This is the major point or folder which is showing this difference. When you are inside the demo, that means you are connected to the central repo. Some repo, forget about whichever repo it is. If you don't have this initialization of Git, then it will not show anything here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So you can do some hands-on. So once you install this, you will have the git bash like this. Okay, just go here, git bash. Okay, we will talk about how to create a repo and with some hands-on whatever we discussed today of this concept. Where is it? This one. We will do some hands-on in next session. So we'll also do one thing today. This is the URL github.com. Okay. Do you have Git accounts? Then you can log in directly. If you don't have Git accounts, then please sign up for this. It is straightforward. Just to give your email address and where is that? Sign out. Okay. If you have already a user account, log in with this. Otherwise, you go for sign up. Okay. Enter your email address. Some name you can give, but you give your valid one. Okay. Already taken. Okay. Create your password and continue. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So that you will get your Git ID. So tomorrow we'll do some practice sessions. I'll explain that how to create a repository, all those things. If you have any doubts on this concept, please let me know. I can explain. I can clarify. Konak, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Banu,
Yes, sir.
obviously clear, right?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So I'll again upload this. These are the 5 steps. You please remember this to do any Git activity. These are the major things. Maximum these 5 commands will be used. Okay, there are a few other commands, but these are the commands which are used highly. Okay, we'll talk about this ID. This is SHA-ID is also very important for many activities of a DevOps engineer. Okay, using SHA-ID, you can do many things. Of whatever things we discussed here, you can perform these activities using the SHA-ID. Okay. Okay, if you have any, you don't have any doubts, then we'll end up today. We'll check tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.